All right, stats. Here we go. 3, 5 notes, sampling, and surveys. So again, we're going to talk about the different sampling methods here when trying to conduct a survey. All right, so let's get right into it. So the first issue we're going to talk about is this thing called undercoverage. Okay, so undercoverage is just what it sounds like. It's when some members of a population are less likely to be chosen or cannot be chosen for the sample. And again, it's just when someone is not chosen for the sample. Okay, so some members are not chosen, cannot be chosen for the sample. And what happens is you run into some issues if these undercovered individuals differ from the population. So again, for example, I don't know, um, you know, say you go to an all-girls, Catholic school or something like that, whatever, and you do a survey. Well, there's only girls at that school, right? So you're going to undercover uh, for the males because you don't have any males to ask at that school. Now, again, if it's specific to the school, I guess that's okay. But if it's a general question, you got to have males and females. So that's my quick example of undercoverage. Okay. So again, they're less likely to be chosen or cannot be chosen for the sample. So again, note the list of individuals from which a sample is drawn is called the sampling frame. And again, in that sampling frame, you need to have every member of the population. If you don't, you're going to have undercoverage. Okay. So let's take a look at this problem. Oh, sorry. All right. So it says, how long can you sleep in? Now, how long before school starts do students get out of bed on average? Administrators survey a random sample of students on each school bus one morning. Describe how undercoverage might lead to bias in this study. Explain the likely direction of bias. So again, the key idea is this sentence. Administrators survey a random sample of students on each school bus one morning. So think about this. What are the different ways of getting to school, right? So you could ride the school bus, which is traditional, but you could maybe walk. You could get a ride from a friend, or you could get a ride from a parent, right? So there's many different ways to walk to school. So we need to talk about that and who's being undercover. So here's a sample response of this question. So we're going to say students who take the bus. Students who take the bus probably wake up earlier than other students. So that they don't miss the bus. So that they don't miss the bus. I was walking my dog one morning. This poor kid that goes to, he's a fourth grader. He is up at like 6:15 waiting for the bus. That is way early, man. Early. Okay, anyway. So I am describing who got surveyed, right? So these are people who ride the bus. Now I'm going to talk about who did not get surveyed. It says because the sample only includes students who take the bus. And not other students. And not other students. And again, those could be those who are driven or walk to school. Which you assume if you're driven or you walk, like if you walk to school, it depends how far you are away, but typically you're probably not that far away. If you're driven to school, if your mom or dad drives you to school, usually you can wake up a little bit later, right? Because they can get you there faster. You don't have to go to all these people's houses. So because the sample only includes or includes students who take the bus and not other students, those driven or walk to school. The administrator's estimate. So now we're talking about the direction. The administrator's estimate of the mean time from the sample. Notice I say mean because up here it says average, and that means mean. Remember, I talked about there's proportion problems and mean problems. This is a mean problem. And again, start shifting your mind to that type of talk. Is it a proportion problem or a mean problem? The administrator's estimate of the mean time from the sample is likely to be greater than the true mean time of all students. And there we go. Okay. So again, notice when it comes to under coverage, I try to talk about who they did interview and what they would say, right? So I talked about the bus and waking up early. Then I talked about who they did not survey, or who they did and who they did not, right? And then I talked about the direction. So try your best to do all that in your responses. Okay, great. That's objective 1. Objective 2 is coming.